States Constitution left and right. Okay,
yeah.
They were practically lawyers themselves. I think they were studying to be attorneys while they were at Merritt College. Okay, so that's what brought this forward to. But it must be noted, police brutality was one of the things that brought this whole thing together. We wasn't getting enough help, so they felt like, well, if we're going to do something, we have to empower ourselves to do these type of programs, these social programs. So I just wanted to bring that up.
No, duly noted. And I didn't know about the Alabama component or connection, but self-determination and self-reliance was the mission, period. You know what I mean? We have to take care of ourselves was definitely the mission. But with that, I'm going to try and share with us a quick video on the origins of the party, or at least specifically for the Oakland party. So this is about, I'll move through this pretty quickly, but it's about a good 10-minute video. So please take a listen.
In America, black people are treated very much as the Vietnamese people or any other colonized people, because we're brutalized. The police in our community occupy our area, our community, as a foreign troop occupies territory. And the police are there not to, in our community, not to promote our welfare or for our security and our safety, but they're there to contain us, to brutalize us and murder us, because they have their orders to do so. And just as the soldiers in Vietnam have their orders to destroy the Vietnamese people, the police in our community couldn't possibly be there to protect our property, because we own no property. They couldn't possibly be there to see that we receive the due process of law, for the simple reason that the police themselves deny us the due process of law. And so it's very apparent that the police are only in our community, not for our security, but the security of the business owners in the community, and also to see that the status quo is kept intact.
People aren't hip to that yet. They're not really aware of it. They know some shit's going on in this country somewhere. But a lot of people out there don't know where it's at. They think it's the black people doing it. That all those riots are causing my life to be miserable in all areas, you know. And they really haven't focused in on the fact that it's the pigs and their mentors, the people who control the pigs, the power structure, those bald-headed businessmen at the Chamber of Commerce, you see? They're not turned on to that power structure. They just know that life is becoming increasingly miserable for everybody. But when they find out who it is that's causing the trouble, and who it is that's making life miserable, and who it is that's responsible for all their sons being murdered in Vietnam, when they get tuned into that, then they're all going to be just like the Panthers, because this is what we're tuned into. We see what's going on, and it's just a terrible, powerful situation. More and more people are turning on that, you see? So I think that they're going to do the dog right here in Babylon.
When we first started, we had a police alert patrol, and we would patrol the community. If we saw the police brutalize anyone, we put an end to this. Usually the police wouldn't brutalize anyone if we were on hand, because we were armed, and if the police arrested the individual, we would follow him to the jail and bail the individual out, whether he was a Panther or not. And we would gain many recruits like this. So therefore the community started to say that, well, these people are really concerned about our welfare.
I think the basic reaction to a cat that like experiences a Panther, I don't mean who sees a guy go by in a black jacket or a beret. I mean a guy who sees a Panther in action with their lives on the line. When he sees that, that's the end of it, you know, like he's either scared to death, but he's gonna never commit no more crimes, do nothing wrong, you know, he's gonna jaywalk, or else he comes down, he comes around and says that he can dig it, you see. Black cats just remain stand in fear of the cops. And this is the reason, one of the reasons why the Panther Party focused on the cops. Because the cops are out there and they're visible, you see. And this is the direct contact of the black people with the power structure. You know, it's the man, the pig, who's gonna come and bother them, you see. But the only thing that has been lacking was a method by which to really move against it effectively. And those other organizations with those programs and those nonviolent tactics and those appeals to God and Allah and whoever, brothers didn't want to hear that. And so here all of a sudden, here come two niggas with some guns, stand in front of the cop and talk to the cop just like the cop's talking to them. You know? They check that out. They really want to know what that's about. You see? If they don't decide that their life is too precious, you know, that they must live forever. If they don't decide that, they come a little close to the party.
We're not a self-defense group in the limited fashion that you usually think of self-defense groups. I would like to use an example when Fidel Castro started the revolution along with Che Guevara, with 12 of them all together. They realized that they wouldn't be able to topple the oppressive regime in Cuba. What they were essentially was an educational body. They engaged with the army, they fought with the army, and they showed the people that the army was not bulletproof, that the police were not bulletproof, and that Batista's regime was not a regime that was impossible to topple. So the people started to feel their strength. The Black Panther Party feels very much the same way. We think that this educational process is necessary, and it's the people that will cause the revolution, and it's the people that will cause the change in the country. The Black Panther Party is simply the vanguard of the revolution, and we plan to teach the people the strategy and the necessary tools to liberate themselves. The party made a coalition with the Peace and Freedom Party, which is primarily a white group. We see it necessary to fight on two fronts. We must liberate the colony as well as stimulate revolution in the mother country. I think that the revolutionary students play a great part in saving America. If it were not for the white students, the Black Panther Party would react to the racism in the country and therefore respond with racism. White students have been very interested in the past of the foreign policy of the United States. They're demanding that the United States withdraw from Vietnam, stop brutalizing the Vietnamese people, and we feel that the white students should relate and pay more attention to the colonized situation here of the blacks first, because after all, this is home. And they should, this is not to say that they shouldn't denounce America's treacherous actions abroad. I think they can be done at the same time. That it's just a matter of placing emphasis upon the criminal activities of America here in the homeland.
Let's get into the inner workings and the meaning of this. Let's get into the inner workings and the meaning of a black revolution and why black people have a right to take what's theirs. You can read the platform and the program, and it's a basic program, and it simply says exactly what black people have been crying for 400 years. One, we want freedom. We want power to determine the destiny of our own black communities. Two, we want full employment for our people. Three, we want decent housing fit for shelter of human beings. Four, we want an end to the robbery of the black community by the white racist businessman. Five, we want decent education that teaches us about the true nature of this racist, decadent system. Education that teaches us about our true history and our role in the society and the world today. Six, we want all black brothers to be exempt from military service. Seven, we want an immediate end to police brutality and murder of black people. 8, we want all black brothers and sisters held in federal, county, state, city, jails, and prisons to be released because they have not had a fair trial. They've been tried. They've been tried by all white juries who have no understanding of the average reasonable man in the black community. Number 9, this is where Brother Huey is being caught. We just want the courts to make sure we have peers on the jury, people from the black community, as defined by their jive constitution, the so-called United States. 10, summary with the major political objectives. That is, we want land, bread, housing, clothing, education, justice. We want peace. Major political objectives. We want a black plebiscite. The UN, the black colonial subjects will participate, dealing with, analyzing, projecting politically upon the racist atrocities that have been committed against black people in this nation.
All right. All right, are we there? Antonio, are you there?
I'm here.
All right. So that was just a quick overview of the program, or the Black Panther Party the Black Panther Party for self-defense. That was I'm trying to find my Zoom piece again. Am I here? Let's see here. I may have lost my, but Antonio, please elaborate or share your thoughts, because in that was Huey P. Newton, as well as Bobby Seale, who were the founders of the Oakland chapter or branch of the Black Panther Party, discussing, and at the end, that was Bobby Seale, I believe, laying out the 10-point programs of the Black Panther Party for self-defense. Little context here. Now, this is in 1966, we're assuming, but in 1963, Martin Luther King had just given the speech, the I Have a Dream speech in the March on Washington. 1965, I believe the Vietnam War had started. So that's why he was speaking about Vietnam. And there was a lot of protests against the Vietnam War with the college students. And that's why he was mentioning the white folks being a part of also the Black Panthers poverty struggle, because they were trying to say that it was a racist or separatist organization. They were saying that, no, we're not. So he was mentioning the need for the white students to be a part of that. But Vietnam had happened in 65, 67, I think Huey Newton was jailed for killing a police officer. So all of these things are in the mix, and part of the disassociation or the not being happy with the current Black civil rights movement, with the nonviolent component of that, I think was part of that. Is that true, or was that part of the deal?
No. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And I like the way you broke that down, because, at that period of time, a lot of things was happening in the country. You mentioned the war, you mentioned the civil rights movement, you mentioned Dr. Martin Luther King.
Mm-hmm.
I guess you would have to add, the 1968 Olympics with
yeah, right,
Carlos and Tommy Smith and what they did. There were just so many things that was going on, and you knew the country was a powder keg. It was about to explode. Mm-hmm. And the Black Panther Party was right there in the middle of it. Mm-hmm. You seen, excuse me, you saw in the video, what they were explaining, what they were about.
Right.
Number one, with the police brutality, and what the other things that grew out of that, that created the 10-point program. So This was just it was just like a turning point in history, because now we have Lyndon B. Johnson as the president. Okay, then you got, the Civil Rights Act of 1965. So there's what I've learned, through the Black Panther Party members here. That's when the shift came in. Okay. For the most part, America wasn't ready for that shift. Okay, they wasn't ready to give these people what they demanded. Okay, and they still had to fight off the cops, because what Huey and Bobby Seale knew, the Oakland police and the Alameda sheriffs, a lot of them was from the South. They went out and hired people from the South because they knew how to handle, and handle and enact these type of laws with Black people.
Right, control.
So, like I said, and all these things was going together. And of course, you got Berkeley sitting right over there, the University of California, Berkeley. And then you have, these white radicals who see what's happening. Then they join in the fray, as Huey instructed or requested. So yeah, pretty interesting time. That the whole I'm not going to say the mid 1960s or late 1960s, all the 1960s.
Right. Well, you have to also remember that Malcolm X was out there as well, and the Nation of Islam. So I think Bobby Seale spoke to this, and some other research I was doing. Bobby Seale spoke to the fact that what Malcolm was saying was, Malcolm's like, no, we're not going to be nonviolent. Well, at the same time, they're watching both the nonviolent component or approach, as well as the Malcolm approach, and some of his literature was like, we're not going to be nonviolent. If you put your hands on me, then we're going to react to that. So a lot of the brothers were leaning towards that, but the Panther Party's objective was just the police brutality component of that, which was happening in all facets, in all the marches, in all the scenes. It was police brutality because, like you say, the society wasn't ready for. And Lyndon B. Johnson did sign the Civil Rights Act in '65. So let's talk about, Antonio, let's talk about some of the founding members. We talked about Huey, we talked about Bobby Seale. Now, Eldridge Cleaver. What was Eldridge Cleaver and Stokely Carmichael, what were their roles with the party?
We start off with Stokely Carmichael.
Okay.
Who became Kwame Ture right up to his death. Kwame was basically, he was the one who actually coined the word Black Power.
Oh, okay.
Okay. He was the one, I mean, he was one of those radical students. I think he was a member of SNCC, the Student Nonviolent, can't come out with the whole name. I should.
Student Nonviolent, yes. Something commission. Well, you got
right. SNCC, they call it SNCC, SNCC, but he was pretty much like Malcolm. He was that radical. He was that far left. Okay. Anybody touch me, I'm going. I actually had a chance to interview him at Sacramento City College back in 1995, okay. And he flat out told me, touring those states, when they were trying to register people. Right,
for the voting rights were big.
Right. He carried the gun.
Okay.
Because he knew if it was going to be his time, he had a weapon. But that was basically his position. I wouldn't say that he was a lone wolf, okay, because he represented a lot of things that was going on.
Right.
But his involvement in the whole civil rights movement is just pretty much off the chart. Okay. That's pretty much what I know. Now, Eldridge, I have very little intel on him. I just understand that, he was like the Minister of Information.
Right.
Right. But he was a captain, a lieutenant, whatever, in the war and for the Black Panther Party. And he was very instrumental in getting the information out.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
But these guys were really sharp. They were really intellectual individuals that probably came from an impoverished background, but they knew the state, the plight of the Black community, and what had to be done.
Right. Okay. Well, that's so what we'll do now. We can't leave without mentioning Fred Hampton, the sad reality of Fred Hampton.
Okay, that would be the Chicago side. Yes,
that would be the Chicago side. But we'll get into that as we begin to talk about the government's response to the Black Panther Party. But first, I want to show. I'm going to go on here, Antonio, and try and bring up the video that you had shared regarding the Black Panther. I mean, the local chat branch, I should say.
Yes.
And let's see here, and how it was affected by police involvement and so forth on a local level. So let me see here. And I'm going to try and show this, but give me a second. My technological skills are not that, technology skills are not very good. So let's see, let's switch. Well, Antonio, while I try to find this, please share more about the local chapter while I find this video.
Okay, well, while Greg tried to upload this video, it's actually a 2-minute video of an incident that happened here in Sacramento, Oak Park, specifically, a confrontation between the Sacramento branch, BPP, and the cops, the Sacramento Police Department, which I think this incident started in William Land Park. You know, a lot of the members was just out, hanging out on a Sunday afternoon. It was Father's Day, and something happened. And the police came there, chased him out of the park. They chased him all the way back to 35th and Broadway, where the headquarters, where they were headquartered at. That's where they sold papers out of there. That's where they stored all their. Okay, you got it up. Here we go.
Okay. No, continue, and then we'll. Okay, here we go.
Yes.
Well, you know what you're saying. Yeah, but what you're saying, though, you see, is
Before you go over, you want to feel and I want you to see that there ain't no bullet holes at all. Now, if rifle fire had came out of that building there, that door, there should be holes somewhere over here.
unless they're using blanks.
If a bullet had came through that door, one of the policemen would have been dead because Panther shoot better than that. And at that close range, they were standing right there on the sidewalk. If we had been shooting at those cats, one of them would have been dead. With a rifle, that's right. I stood to the door and I asked the cop to let me take the sister to the hospital. And the dog said he didn't want nobody to come out the building. When I turned around to walk back in, to tell everybody to
I want you to see this.
Mr. Mayor, can you give me some reaction to what you've seen here right now?
Well, I can only tell you, I think I'm a little shocked and horrified
At what, sir?
at the condition of these quarters.
What are your plans right now?
Well, I don't have any specific plans. We've just completed a meeting. We are now examining what has happened and seeing with our own eyes the shambles that was created here. And I am certain that the council, in its next regularly scheduled meeting, or perhaps even a special meeting, will get further into these matters and in this sense hopefully come up with some what are called in today's world meaningful solutions. We can't continue this. It must not happen. It just must not happen.
it's going to show the people that they're doing something that they have never done before, rather than sit around and listen to other rhetoric, other people saying that what has happened, and they take a stand on what has happened from.
Are you satisfied that this is what you say concern?
No, I'm not satisfied. Just because they see it don't mean they're going to work on it.
Okay.
Right.
Now I just want to say that that last person who was speaking, that's Charles Bronson. That's Omawale Okasakoya. He just passed away, like I said, in April 13, 2020 of COVID-19. He was one of the co-founders of the Sacramento branch of the Black Panther Party. The white gentleman in the video, that was the Sacramento mayor, Richard Marriott. Okay. He probably was only the mayor for about a year. He was the mayor from 1968 to 1975. He was a city council person from 1959 to 1968. So that when the office was located on 35th Street, right off of Broadway, where the post office sits today. That's where the Black Panther Party branch office was here in Sacramento. And they were discussing the incident that happened the day before, June 17, 1969, when the cops came over there. The cops tried to say that the party was shooting at them on that street, but as you can see, there were no bullet holes across the street from where they were to return fire. Okay, some of the people almost lost their lives. They had kids with them that day.
Wow. Okay. And that was here local. That was a local reaction to some of so the local police basically rolled up on the local chapter. Is that what happened?
That's what they did.
Okay.
They did. But first they were out. They were hanging out at a William Land. First, from what Margot Brunson was telling me, they were first hanging out at William Land Park, just having a nice day, Father's Day. Okay. And there was some interaction between them and the cops, and then it spilled over all the way back to 35th and Broadway. And actually, these people talk about that event today. You know what I mean? It just really affected them emotionally of what the cops did that day. Because after that, it was a whole bunch of police brutality things that came out of that.
Wow. Okay. Now let's talk about, Antonio. I'm gonna let you begin to share about the program Cointelpro, which was a program created by the FBI to basically monitor and/or discredit and eliminate in some forms the Black political or civil unrest, if you will. So please share about that, Antonio.
Okay, well, you will have to go way back to probably 1919. A young J. Edgar Hoover, who became, the head man of the Federal Bureau of Investigation.
Mm-hmm.
He had started this program of looking for security threats. Pretty much was a race as anything, and his first target was Marcus Garvey.
Yeah.
Okay, he was a pursuer of Marcus Garvey. He just absolutely didn't like Marcus Garvey's political position of trying to help Black people survive here in the United States of America.
Right.
Couldn't really find any federal crimes, to hang on him. Eventually, they did chase Marcus Garvey out of the country. Mm-hmm. But some of the items and the task and strategies that they used with him carried on right into the 1950s. That's when the counterintelligence, excuse me, I'm talking too fast. The counterintelligence programs was started by the FBI. And once again, they're looking for threats. At least they say they're looking for security threats. That wasn't the whole deal. The whole purpose with the counterintelligence program, the Cointelpro program, was to break up these, what they call radical Black groups. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. Started in the 1950s, but it really picked up in the 1960s. Mm-hmm. Okay. They were Dr. King was under surveillance. Right. Malcolm X was under surveillance at one time. Right. And the party.
That's right.
The party. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. They called them Black nationalists, Black radicals. Mm-hmm. They wanted to infiltrate that program and break it up, which they successfully did. So yes. It's a lot of ins and outs about this program, right, which extended into the 1970s. But I would have to say that it was successful in breaking down the Black Panther Party, because they put some people in there, some planners in there, some informants in there, right, that were able to go back and
infiltrate the program. So infiltration. So part of their mission. Well, I'm gonna read the mission. The mission was to expose, disrupt, misdirect, discredit, or neutralize any political groups deemed too submersive for the FBI's liking. So they went in, and techniques that they used were counterintelligence, psychological warfare, and then it's listed here, cold-blooded murder. They resorted to cold-blooded murder, which was the result for Fred Hampton, who was one of the brothers, and we can start that conversation. And folks, let me mention that all of the resources that you're seeing tonight will be on the California State Library Foundation's website. So all of the videos you see will be part of that, and then we're referencing all of our resources here so that you can look it up for yourself. We're not making any of this stuff up. But Antonio, so let's talk about Cointelpro, and then what happened, or what that program did to not only Fred Hampton, but there are still brothers in jail today that are Black Panther parties. This has been 49, 50 years ago. From what I've read, there are 19 brothers still in jail.
Yes.
From the Panther Party. So go ahead.
A couple of them passed on, but yes.
Go ahead, Antonio. Go ahead. And then
let me start right here. Okay. The Sacramento branch of the Black Panther Party started in April 1968, and it ended in May 1968. And one of the reasons why they broke apart was because Huey was in jail.
Right.
Okay.
2 years, a couple years,
Right. Bobby Seale, he went to jail. Okay.
Literally all of them went to jail.
He didn't stay in jail, but he was in and out of jail.
Right.
So then that's when, you know, the women leadership started coming in years after that. They started naming women as the head, Kathleen Brown and all of those. But the Cointel program was so cold. Charles Bronson, Omar Wally, he got a copy of this document from the Freedom of Information Act. He wasn't able to get it for years.
Right.
And it was describing what he was doing. Okay. He would drive to Oakland, jump in the plane, fly to DC, and it had it all explained in this document. And all this was part of the Cointel program.
Yep. Okay.
Well, you know, Omar Wally was true to the game. He never sold anybody out. He was not a snitch. I would never, you know, think of nothing like that. He was a steel warrior. Him and Bobby Seale, who lives up in the still lives in the Bay Area right now. They used to hang out. They would go to different conferences. Omar Wally would go with him on speaking engagements and stuff like that. He was true to the game, no doubt about that. But he's showing me these documents, you know, from the FOIA. It's like, okay, these things were really happening. They were really trying to infiltrate not only, you know, these branches across America. They was trying to get, you know, to get into the Sacramento thing. But they had broke up. They had disbanded. So, and most of them went on their different ways, which I also find interesting and significant because it didn't rattle them. Because a lot of those members, okay, they went on to live healthy lives. Okay, they were correctional officers. You know, they worked for the post office. Margot worked for the state for many, many years. You know, very intelligent woman. You know, these really down brothers and sisters from this branch here. Okay, and it's all spread it out to the Oakland branch. So the Cointel program didn't really affect them as it did places like L.A., Chicago, which you're talking about, Fred Hampton, because that story, that movie that they have out about him, Judas and the Black Messiah, is about a person who infiltrated the Chicago branch of the Black Panther Party, and you know, and got him killed because he was only Fred Hampton was only like 23 years old when he got shot up and killed, but he was just so astute, sharp, you know.
They say the brother was sharp, and another reason why COINTEL did not wanted to target him because, like I said, the word Messiah, they saw him as being someone who could lead the black folks to the revolution, if you would. So they labeled him as the Black Messiah. They didn't want that. Martin Luther King was also labeled as a Messiah who could lead these black folks. So they wanted to eliminate him. But Fred Hampton was also a uniter. He was working with the Asians, the blacks, the whites, everybody, trying to get them to get civil rights, if you will. So they wanted to eliminate him pretty quickly.
Yeah, he started programs in my hometown, Champaign-Urbana. He used to come to the University of Illinois and speak there. He actually went to the first university that I went to, Southern Illinois University in Carbondale, which is on the southern tip of Illinois. Okay, Fred Hampton, he got around. Okay, there's people in the state that still remember him, that still know him. He used to go to these people's house and break bread with them. That's a pretty interesting story for someone only had 23 years of life on this earth.
Right. Well, in the interest of time, Antonio, we're going to move forward. So COINTELPRO folks, go on the library's website and look up that information. We've got the link for the program. I wanted to play the video, but we don't have time to play the video. But it's called COINTELPRO. It stands for Counterintelligence Program. So that's an FBI program. But today, so ultimately, COINTELPRO was found to be illegal and they disbanded in '71. But in 2017, they started another program that is meant to spy on Black civil rights groups and any protesting and so forth. The BLM is a perfect target. This program is called the Black Identity Extremist Program. Black Identity Extremist Program. I've got a video on that is on that website as well, on the foundation website, that explains that program. Basically, that program was started in 2017 by Jesse Sessions to spy, surveil, and observe those deemed as political, these black political groups deemed as extremists. All of them are deemed extremists, and it was just a way to get to get authorization to assess these black groups. So all the BLM is definitely who they're watching and are still watching to this day. Antonio, anything you'd like to say on that?
Yeah, I'm just gathering intel about this group myself. One of the interesting things about this, and I'm glad you mentioned the year 2017. That was the same year that the Trump administration had eliminated the Civil Rights Division.
Yep.
And if you know anything about the Civil Rights Division, they were the one who going, to these different states and countries, investigating civil rights violations.
Right.
Okay, so it kind of I found that kind of interesting that you would eliminate that division and then you would start a new one, and turn the tables on them. So I'm just basically learning about what they're doing now, what their tactics are or whatever, and who they're looking at. It's kind of hard to believe because a lot of these activist groups, their thoughts are not turning the guns on the cops or shooting cops and nothing like that. Okay, this liberty, this is
democracy,
freedom that we're looking for. Okay? Well, and that was Black folks wanted, is jobs, education. Okay, housing. Why would we want to do that to go to jail? To kill somebody to go to jail? But that's just my opinion.
Right. Well, and that was justification for starting the program was in 2016, the brother that killed the 5 cops in Dallas, they deemed the program to start the program because of any of these black supposed radicals are targeting police. That was their justification for starting the Black Identity Extremist program. But Antonio, we're down to about 8 minutes left. Now, I know Wendy is on the line here. I'm wondering, Wendy, if we have, Brittany, Dawn, do we have any questions from the audience that we could take a couple questions, Brittany, Dawn, or how should we move through that?
Yeah. Let's take some questions. If you guys are ready, we've had some roll into the chat already. Okay, so I'm so sorry if I pronounce your names wrong. Bear with me. But Shalia Newman asked if the Sacramento branch is associated with the CBPM.
I don't know what that is.
I'm sorry, I have no knowledge of that.
Shalia, if you want to inform us on what the CBPM is, maybe they can further address your question.
Mm-hmm.
While we wait for that, I've got a couple questions from Robin Detel. She wanted to know, do you know women who were members of the Black Panther Party Sacramento branch besides Margot Rose Bronson, or where she could look this information up?
Oh boy, yes, I do. I mean, there's plenty of them. I basically just know them by first name, Rashid. She's a teacher here. But I will say this, and we will have that information available to you. I hope as soon as possible. I'll pull down those names for you, because about 5 years ago, at the Brookhouse Gallery in Oak Park, they brought most of those women back, and they spoke at this event, including Margot. I want to say her name is Mary Carly. She's an educator around here. She's a retired educator around here. But it was so strong that it was standing room only.
Right.
But understand this, as we go forward, I will pull down all those women's names, because what they were doing were incredible. They outnumbered the men as far as membership, but and some of them still around. They just, a lot of them did some big things. They had careers, after the movement. And let me tell you.
All right.
Still talk like it's the 1960s too.
Right. Well, Antonio, now, so does the Sacramento branch of the Black Panther Party, is there still a website or something for that, or where could folks?
Well, there's one that what's his name? Jennings. I can't think of his name. There's one that he does, but he does it for the whole Black Panther Party. But he does have a lot of wealth of information about the Sacramento branch party too. If you type in Jennings and the Black Panther Party, you should pull that up. It's a pretty popular website.
All right.
Eventually, with Margot, we got to work out some legal things. We're going to create a website just for the Sacramento branch Black Panther Party.
Okay, that's good to know.
Oh.
So turns out,
Yeah.
Brittany Don or Antonio CBPM, I think the young lady, Collective Black People's Movement. So,
yes.
So
yep.
Brittany
I'm
Don.
sorry. I mean, out of all of that, I'm not saying that it crossed, it went in and out my ears, but I would like to know a lot more about it if that's the association that they have. This is
I'm not sure,
a big undertaking, and we're gathering all the information that I have. I'm basically picking up a lot of information on documents, places like the Sacramento Observer, and firsthand knowledge, from some of the members who are still alive. That's why I'm really pushing on this, because, a lot of people have been passing these days, and I hope none of them, leave this earth without me trying to pull information from them. But I would like to learn about your collective Black movement as much as possible, as soon as possible.
All right.
Okay. We've got one more from Robin Dettell asking what groups are around today that best continue the Black Panther Party philosophy and strategy.
That's a good question. I know locally here, there's not many, but there are some grassroots organizations just pretty much right on key, right on the same page with the Black Panther Party that started. We have a whole new different generation of people right now, and they have different philosophies and strategies that they like to use, but it's basically the same thing. Okay, we're just trying to uplift our people, share our knowledge, and get some of the demands that we want, as I mentioned earlier. Housing, right, education, careers. We just want the American way. Okay, it's all about the 14th Amendment, if you ask me. Right. One of the most litigated amendments of the United States Constitution. That's basically what these groups are working for. I know we do have a local Black Lives Matter group here. We have another group here called Impact, which is ran by Leah Nicole Shink. Tanya Faison, she just started a group called the Street Coalition, okay, which not really focused on police brutality, but it focused on the inner crimes that we have here in the community that affect us all. I mean, it doesn't have to do with the cops. I mean, people come out march for that, but we're missing the other point when I want to call it a black on black crime, but when another Black person killed another Black person, why are these things happening? That's what the Street Coalition is going on. It's a whole slew of them. Sonia Lewis, she started a couple organizations. She got things going on. She used to be a member of the Sacramento Black Lives Matter. Now she went off and started her own thing. They're out there, they're powerful, and they have a voice.
All right, awesome. Okay. Now,
all right, so we...
go ahead, Brittany, go ahead.
We have another question from Lynn Wiley asking if archives exist, photo newsletters, etc., from the Sacramento branch, and if so, where?
Well, that's where you come in, Brittany.
Yeah.
that's where we're here, and I'm glad you reached out to us, and that's why we're trying to pull these things out so we can get that information out there. This is one thing that I would like to share, because a lot of people have did it, for reports. Go to the Sacramento main branch downtown here on 8th and I when it opens, okay? Go to the period around 1968 and 1970, the Sacramento Observer. The Sacramento Observer did a great job of documenting the presence of the Sacramento branch of the Black Panther Party, okay? The Union, when it was an operation, and the Sacramento Bee, they do have information on it, but it was more sensationalized,
right.
These shootouts, these confrontations with the cops. But the Observer was putting out there what they were doing, okay? All right, with the Black Breakfast Program, okay? The Black Woman of the Month thing grew out of, the Black Panther Party that the Observer was doing. Go there on Microfiche, the second floor of the library, the one downtown, and you will find a lot of information that the Observer published about this particular group.
Now, Brittany,
And also,
Brittany Dawn, don't you all, the California State Library, have an awesome collection of the Black Panther Party papers?
so the California State Library, which is where we're the nonprofit for that, they actually have the full collection of the Black Panther Party newspaper that was published.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the state library is closed right now due to COVID, but once we get out of this pandemic, hopefully you all will be able to visit the California State Library and check out the full run of the of the Black Panther Party newspaper. It's quite fascinating, which is what inspired this whole evening. Was I found out that collection existed, and I didn't know there was a newspaper, and I wanted to educate myself a little bit more on all of this. And I'm so glad that we got to share this evening together. And the foundation will be working with both Gary Simon and Antonio more in the future. In fact, we're going to be working with Antonio to hopefully get an article written for our publication that we put out, which is the Bulletin. It comes free with all of our memberships, but you can also buy individual bulletins on our website as they come out. So please visit our website, get in touch. I don't have any more questions in the chat.
Okay.
So.
All right. And the library is located at 900 N Street, folks. And we will be partnering with them in June to do the Juneteenth reception. But we want to definitely thank all of you. It is 7 o'clock, Brittany Dawn, and we want to thank all of you all for joining us this evening. Antonio, a special thank you to you. And the work that you are doing, Brittany Dawn, we truly appreciate you hosting us this evening. And it sounds like we may need to come back with a part 2, Antonio, because I didn't get to show all my good videos, bro. I had some stuff.
and also, I would like to, bring a couple members in there, specifically Margot Brunson in, and let her share her side of it, because she was there when all these things happened. And there's a couple other women. I know one of the guest attendees had mentioned about the women who are instrumental in the party that happened here in Sacramento. If we can pull together another one, then you can hear from firsthand account what was going on at that party by the people who were there.
Awesome, awesome.
We would always love to have a part 2. We'll start working to get that in the books, and we will let everybody know when that's going to come out. Thank you both. I've greatly appreciated getting the opportunity to work with both of you. I know, Gary, we've gotten to work together a couple times, but it's always a pleasure to get the opportunity to reapproach. So thank you for everyone for attending. Those resources will be up on our website, which I am putting in the chat box right now. Give us a couple days. We're going to be adding some resources as we gather them from tonight's discussion, and we'll also be posting notifications for future events up on there as well. We do have an Instagram handle. Please look us up. It's the California State Library Foundation. We seriously appreciate everyone taking the time to come out and join us tonight. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, and good evening.
And have a great evening.
Good evening.
All right.
Yes.
Love and peace.
That's it. All power to the people.
All power to the people.